All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er update. Check out Pig and a Pickle, two locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And of course, this video is brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Make sure you use the promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and they'll match you up to $100 on your first deposit. Mojo Fantasy, and everybody who does register and types in the promo code Krug automatically is in a drawing to win a Nick Bosa or a Brock Purdy jersey on Thanksgiving night, courtesy of Mojo Fantasy. All right, let's talk on the 49ers. They were back in the practice field today, getting ready for Jacksonville. First practice since the bye week. Chase Young, the newest 49er, was out there. He arrived on Wednesday. He took his physical and has been working with the Niner coaches and Nick Bosa. Big guy, 6'5", wearing number 92. So if you're looking for Chase Young to wear 99, nope, that's Javon Kinlaw's number. Chase Young out on the practice field today wearing number 92, but he passed his physical on Wednesday. That was a big question. And the 2020 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year is now a bookend rusher opposite Nick Bosa. And it's like Buckeye days all over again. So very interesting to see him out on the field today. 49ers get really rolling on Wednesday with the regular practice. Tomorrow is the players' off day. So they'll go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then get on the bird and fly to Jacksonville and get ready to play the Jaguars coming out of the bye week. The Jaguars also coming out of the bye week. And this is going to be a real big moment for the Niner D line because this Jacksonville offensive line has struggled. Trevor Lawrence has, gotten rid of the ball very, very quick this year. So, there's not going to be a lot of sacks to be had, you would think. So it's going to have to be a coordinated effort. The Niners are going to have to not only get some rush on Trevor Lawrence, they're going to have to tighten their coverage. As simple as that, or he's going to do what Cousins and Burrow have done in the last two games, and that is just complete a very high percentage, a lot of stuff underneath, and just play pitch and catch. 49ers are going to have to show they can stop the run as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But Chase Young on the field today wearing number 92, passed his physical, getting ready for Jacksonville. That was topic number one. Now, topic number two, the 49ers made some news today. They opened the practice window for three intriguing young players. And Kyle Shanahan said, you know what? My team looked tired and my team looks slow. Well, the bye week's going to help on the tired front, but you need players, new players, to really make your team a faster team. And the one thing about the three guys that had their practice window open today, Robert Beal Jr., Samuel Womack, and Darrell Luter Jr., they all to one level or another kind of represent speed. Beal ran 4.4 at Georgia, and he can burn the edge. He's not the most refined rusher. He doesn't have a lot of moves. He really has no counter moves back inside. So he can bull rush you or he can speed rush you and dip that shoulder. But he is an effective speed rusher, and he does have legit 4.4 speed. So now the Niners have Chase Young, and obviously they're hoping for more of a pass rush opposite Nick Bosa, but can Beal give him some pass rush? Can he give him some speed off the edge? It would really help. It absolutely would. So that's one thing we're looking for. Now the 49ers, all three players have 3 weeks to either be activated, or if they're not activated, they're essentially done for the year. So this is a window. 49ers have 3 weeks to practice with Robert Beal Jr., Samuel Womack, Darrell Luter Jr., and make a decision. Are these guys good enough to be on the 53-man roster, or are you going to put them on season-ending IR and they're done for the year? Those are basically the choices. So it's a window. It's a 3-week window where they can activate any of those three guys. Now, Samuel Womack has been on the IR this year. He has had an MCL sprain and had surgery in the knee. And we'll see. I loved what I saw from Womack this summer. And he also could add some much needed speed. And if Womack can play the outside spot, maybe Lenore slides into the slot, and Lenore slides into the slot and Oliver slides to the bench. which would be another angle for the 49ers to add some speed. And then the ultimate wild card here is Darrell Luter Jr., who basically was on the pup list. He had an issue with the knee that became a deep bone bruise, and he's had plenty of time to recover. So he was a guy who played a lot of press man at South Alabama. They had him right up on the line of scrimmage. He didn't play off coverage a lot. He didn't play a lot of zone. He played a lot of man to man up in your face on the line of scrimmage. And he's got the ability to mirror receivers. He's got 33.5-inch arms. He's got long arms. He can get his hands on a lot of passes. He was thought to be a very refined corner coming out, despite the fact he played at South Alabama. And we'll see. Maybe Luter's the solution. It would be great if he was, because he's a big, long arm corner who's very experienced, very mature. I think he has the ability to mirror NFL caliber receivers. I think he's got more than enough speed. I'm really eager to see if Luter or Womack can, escape this 3-week window and actually get on the roster and make an impact. So there's three elements right there. If Kyle Shanahan's looking for added speed, Robert Beal, Samuel Womack, and Darrell Luter Jr. do represent added speed. Deebo Samuel practiced today, and he had told Kay Adams last week on his show with her that he's going to return against Jacksonville. So we still have to see him go through the rest of the week of practice, but that's great news for the 49ers. But he practiced today, and he looks like he's trending towards going on Sunday. Now, who's not going to play on Sunday? Well, we don't know about the offensive line. Aaron Banks has got turf toe. He almost assuredly is not going to go for the next few weeks. I would say he's going to miss at least 2 games, maybe more. I would say get ready for at least 3 weeks of Trent Williams being out with turf toe. And that's a very serious injury, so we'll see. John Feliciano's probably going to wind up starting at left guard going into Jacksonville, and that's going to be a big one for Feliciano. This is where you love the fact that they went and added Feliciano, because he is a veteran and he knows how to play and he's ready to play. And the moment's not going to be too big, and he's going to be able to step in at left guard and probably replicate what Aaron Banks was doing. He's not quite as big as Banks, but man, he's a broad, tough, strong guy who's played a ton of snaps in the interior. He's a more experienced player than Banks, that's for sure. So we'll see how Feliciano looks at left guard this week. And then Trent Williams. Is he going to practice this week? He did some stuff on the field before practice. How much is he going to get a chance to practice? I would expect he probably returns from that lower ankle sprain Sunday against the Jaguars. Jaguars have Josh Allen coming off the edge, who's a terrific edge rusher. So you definitely want your best. Jalen Moore, in my opinion, has been pretty good. So I'm not like totally fearful of having to play another game with Jalen Moore, but Trent Williams is Trent Williams. He's the best left tackle in the game. And so if you can have him out there, you want him out there. Brock Purdy was back on the practice field today. He returned from helping the farmers in Iowa. He's getting ready for next week. Supposedly no ill effects from Purdy's, knocking his head on the turf last week. We'll ask Kyle Shanahan more about that on Wednesday. Today was not a padded practice. It was no pads. It'll be interesting to see if Wednesday or Thursday they put the pads on. But that is something to look for later in the week. Jacksonville this week is going to be, really interesting as far as what they look like on both sides of the ball. And their offense has got a lot of speed, and Lawrence gets rid of the ball really fast. So their line has struggled. And I would imagine with the Niners having Chase Young and Bosa and Hargrave and Armstead, Lawrence is going to be absolutely getting that ball out fast. So that means it's incumbent on the Niner coverage units to really be pressed up and hugged up and very tight. Whether they play man, whether they play zone, I think they're going to have to play aggressive coverage and kind of dare Jacksonville to throw it over their head. Now, the bad news with Jacksonville is they've got enough speed to do it. They literally can throw the ball down the field and really challenge the 49ers vertically. And we'll see if the Niners, kind of play a more conservative coverage and allow catches in front of them like they have in recent weeks, and allow Lawrence to get into a rhythm the same way Cousins and Burrow got into a rhythm, or if they really challenge Jacksonville's speed at the line of scrimmage and just kind of dare them to see if they can make plays down the field. To me, that's the big wild card going into this game. How do the 49ers play coverage-wise? The coverage, without a doubt, needs to be tighter. The other big question of the week, and we don't have an answer for it yet, we may get an answer on Wednesday, is will Steve Wilks leave the booth for the sideline? Kyle Shanahan kind of referenced that they may talk about that this week one-on-one. The 49ers need a change on defense. Wilks has been up in the booth. My deal on it is, hey, you know what? If he's comfortable up there, he should stay up there. Today, also, Jesse Davis was out there, the newest offensive lineman. We'll see if Davis makes an impact at some point going forward. I think that's something to watch for. And I think the number one question that I would have coming out of the bye week and just looking at the numbers, for the 49ers and just looking at what they've done this year on the field, I'm a little worried about the same thing I was worried about in August, and that's the run D. Look at the preseason. The Niners got gashed in the run D. They gave up 552 rushing yards in 3 games, 184 yards a game. That would be dead last in the NFL if that had happened in the regular season. Nobody's giving up more than 154 a game in the NFL right now. They gave up 184 in the preseason. 6.5 yards a pop to Denver, 6.5 yards a pop to the Chargers. 120 total rush yards to the Raiders. And then, was their run D a problem? I asked Shanahan about it. He said, well, if it's based on the preseason, it's a problem. But we were number 1 against the run last year. So we pumped the brakes. And then the Niners season started. And week 1, they got such a big lead. They were up 20-7 at half on the Steelers that Najee Harris only had 6 carries. Pittsburgh ran for 4-1 a carry, but they didn't run it very much because they fell behind. Then in week 2, Kyren Williams ran 14 times for 4 yards a carry, but Stafford, it was clear that the game plan was throw the ball. And Stafford threw for 307 yards and hooked up with Puka Nacua all day. Week 3, there was no Saquon Barkley, so the Giants came out and just passed it. Only 32 passes, only 11 runs. Matt Breida only had 4 carries on that day. Niners won by 18, and the Giants averaged 2.6 a carry, but still there were some questions about the run D. Then in week 4, James Conner ran for almost 5 yards a carry, but the Niners had a lead at 21-10 at half, and they wound up beating Arizona and Josh Dobbs that day by 19 points. Conner had almost 5 yards a carry, but he only had 11 carries. So it looked like they stopped the run, but did they really? And then in week 5, they beat Dallas, and Prescott got impatient in the second half and threw some picks, but it was 21-7 at halftime, and Tony Pollard only had 8 carries. So teams that commit to the run against the Niners, have had some success. Week 6, Cleveland was the number 3 rushing offense. They had P.J. Walker at quarterback. They wanted to commit to the run. They did. They ran it 34 times for 4.7 a carry. So that was the first indication that maybe the run D is not that great. Then week 7 against Minnesota, we remember that Kirk Cousins was awesome on third down and lit him up, but Alexander Mattison still ran for 4.9 a carry. They were the 29th worst rushing attack in football, and Madison ran for almost 5 yards a carry. So it makes you wonder about the run D. And then week 8, they lose to the Bengals by 2 touchdowns. Burrow completed 88% of his passes, but Cincinnati literally was the worst rushing offense in the NFL. They ran for 5 yards a carry. Mixon himself ran for 5.4 a carry. So how good is this Niner run D? And that, to me, is the big question. Jacksonville is 14th as far as running the ball. Etienne averages 3.9 a carry. Does he go off on the Niners? Tampa Bay in week 11 is 30th as far as rushing offense. Rachaad White only averages 3.4 a carry. What does that look like? Can they stop the run there? Seattle, Kenneth Walker runs for 4.2 a carry. He's in week 12 and week 14. So that one's going to be something to watch. Week 13, the Eagles have a top 10 rush offense. I think they're 7th in rushing offense. Can the Niners stop DeAndre Swift? That's a big one. How about Christmas against Lamar? When Baltimore rolls in on Christmas, that's the number one rushing offense in pro football. And now they've got Keaton Mitchell and Gus Edwards running the ball well. Can the Niners stop the Ravens running game on Christmas Day or Christmas Day night or whatever it's going to be? I think that's going to be interesting. And then, who knows? I mean, also, you look at some of the quarterbacks. Cousins and Burrow the last couple of weeks have lit them up. How's Jalen Hurts going to do? How's Lamar Jackson going to do? How are the Niners going to do against Stafford in their return appearance? How about Kyler when they play Arizona? Geno for a couple times, and starting this weekend with Trevor Lawrence. I'm really eager to see what the Niner defense does this week against Jacksonville. All right, thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor. Thanks to Mojo Fantasy for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Crew Show on YouTube.